Midway into the current season, Kylian Mbappe was already making headlines for the wrong reasons.
No back page headlines on Ancelotti. Vinicius not moaning about the Ballon d'Or. It's gone. Kylian Mbappe was once again, and I'm being kind, anonymous.
Anonymous? A waste? Already in danger of falling out with the fans?
I'm talking about scoring, 16, being a threat every single time. Yes, Real Madrid crowd is going to talk, and it's going to talk very quickly, and it's not something that is going to help him to adapt to the new team.
But fast forward to the present day, and the same Mbappe has transformed into a beast. He's back now, from missing penalties back-to-back to bagging hat-tricks on European football's biggest stage. But what if I told you all of this is only happening thanks to one man?
He's a fantastic player, fantastic striker, and he's adapting really well to the team, really humble in his attitude, and so they are really pleased with him.
Even when almost all of the world turned on him, Carlo Ancelotti stuck by Mbappe all through. And now, thanks to a secret tactical tweak, he's got Mbappe playing at a level that's scary for the opposition. Guess it's safe to say he's more than deserved this award in February. 5 goals in 4 games, including a brace and a hat-trick in back-to-back games. And in the context of the season so far, he's looking like the real deal now. A hat-trick versus Manchester City in the Champions League. And they weren't just cheap goals too. From a perfectly timed lob over Ederson, to sending Joško Vardiol back to Croatia in a split second. Mbappe's finishes right now are a different breed. He's scoring everything, from tap-ins to bangers. But one thing is for sure, it wasn't always like this. At the start of the season, his form was average. I mean, on the one hand, he scored in the UEFA Super Cup final win versus Atlanta and on his Champions League debut, but in the league, he was struggling, and it came to a peak in that disaster class versus Barcelona.
It's basic striker movement. It's basic movement ahead of the ball that is not happening from Kylian Mbappe.
The team didn't just lose 4-0. Mbappe had a horror show. He was caught offside 8 times, looked disjointed and couldn't blend in with the team. And there was even talk about the fans turning on him. Just when he thought it couldn't get any worse, it did. Back-to-back penalty misses versus Liverpool and Athletic Club in the space of under 5 days. Mbappe was going through it, but at that moment, 2 things happened to him, particularly the one from Carlo Ancelotti, that didn't just transform his game, but turned around this season. Before I get to that though, could you do us a massive favour and smash that like and subscribe button? It really helps us bring you quality content like this on a weekly basis. When he made this post, it was a challenge to himself. Mbappe knew he had to rediscover the same form that had made him a world-class talent in PSG and France, but he couldn't do it on his own. And that's where Don Carlo came in. Initially, Carlo Ancelotti's plan for Mbappe didn't exist.
And the front, the attack is quite wide. The pitch is 68 meters.
Yeah.
And we have to cover this 68 meter with the players in front.
Despite signing him for free in that blockbuster deal in the summer, you listen to Carlo Ancelotti speaking here and you realise Carlo Ancelotti's idea with Mbappe was just to have him in the front line and trust the players he put in there to find ways of connecting. On one hand, it didn't seem like such a bad idea. I mean, Carlo Ancelotti is a guy who has been known to get the best out of his players without using tactics. But on the other hand, which was the glaring issue, using Mbappe was becoming a problem. He's fixed it now and gotten the best out of Mbappe through a couple of ways. The first, he's gone back to basics, only this time with a twist. You see guys, part of what made Real Madrid so dangerous last season was the fluidity in attack.
So far for Real Madrid, I think this is the kind of starting 11 that we might see from them with a midfield diamond and a front 2. Of course, there are 1 or 2 players you could switch in or out.
The 4-4-2 with the diamond in midfield. Jude Bellingham playing as number 10. Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo as the forwards out wide. It worked too, because in turn, Real Madrid used this system to win La Liga and the Champions League. When Mbappe arrived though, the twist was noticeable. See the graphic? Real Madrid switched shape to a 4-3-3 because the idea was simple. Carlo Ancelotti's new task was to find a way to fit all his star powers into one team. Something he didn't seem particularly pleased about.
So he rang you and said, I'm signing Kylian Mbappe. What do you think about him?
I said, no!
He may have joked about it, but based on what we'd seen at that point, he might have meant it. This new 4-3-3 system would have come with different instructions and ideas from Ancelotti, but one thing was very clear and noticeable in games. The front three had become very predictable, and by this it meant they all had positions to occupy on the pitch. Mbappe started as the number 9. I mean, he wasn't going to stay central almost all game. Vinicius Jr. down the left, Rodrigo down the right, the positions you saw them occupy, that's where they'd been almost all game. Because of this, the lack of fluidity, that is, the X factor in the collective system of the team had gone. And what happened next was the team relying on individual moments of brilliance to win the game, rather than blending as a team. With individual moments of brilliance, it's great until it don't work, as was the case against Barcelona and AC Milan. So how has Carlo Ancelotti fixed this, and how has he brought about a new Mbappe? He hasn't necessarily changed the formation. I mean, it's still technically the same, but there's an added layer to it now.
But he has adapted so well to playing to the middle with the freedom to go to the wide area, to drop back. I think his football intelligence is fantastic.
There it is. That's the word, freedom. That's the change Ancelotti has brought to Mbappe's game that's making the difference. In that number 9 position, Kylian Mbappe's role in the team was fixed. It seems, however, that Mbappe misunderstood this information.
Actually, more appropriately and more importantly, you look at Kylian Mbappe and his movement as a striker, the basic movements as a striker, he's either unable to recognize what those movements should be.
The runs or lack of it. He'd become so used to the idea of learning how to play centrally that he wasn't making the right runs when he was supposed to, and this was affecting Real Madrid.
Look, where for me it's actually worrying, and he will get better because he can't be worse than this, is that we're not asking him to hold the ball like Didier Drogba, which I thought was magnificent at doing it, or putting your body. I know that's not your game. We're not asking you to take the ball and dribble past everybody. That cannot happen all the time.
Facts. Let's be real. Mbappe wasn't going to be a Karim Benzema or even a Joselu in the sense that he'd have to hold the ball up for the others to come into play. But then, because he had to adapt to the team in that position, he was struggling. However, in recent weeks, with the goals he's scoring, you can see there's a massive improvement in his game now. Take this one against Real Valladolid as an example. The 1-2 with Jude Bellingham gets the return pass and finds the angle. Or this one, the one we showed earlier against Manchester City. He latches onto the ball over the top for Raul Asensio and has the finish to match. It's the position he is taking up for these goals now. Thanks to Ancelotti, Mbappe still plays as the number 9 in this 4-3-3 system, but he's no longer confined to just the position anymore. He's got the freedom to move around the front line to find space. This happened a lot against Manchester City. Incredible ball by Vinicius Jr. A player of his ability probably should be burying that, but again, it's the position he takes up. It's almost like he's a right winger in this instance, the same way he was drifting to the left to link up play and get more involved with his teammates. Hang on a sec, if you missed it earlier, hit that subscribe button to Matchday 365 if you haven't clicked it already. The system allows him to read the game more. PSG, France, even Monaco. While Mbappe is a lot of things, being very good at playing with his back to the goal hasn't necessarily been one of them. He's a very direct player who prefers to take on his opponents one-on-one, and now we're seeing him get into positions where he can affect this. The stats back this up too. 116 dribbles this season, at a rate of 5.2 per 90. 55 successful dribbles at a rate of 2.47 per 90. They rank him in the 98th percentile in both respective categories. He's getting on the ball more, beating his opponents, isolating himself in one-on-one situations and scoring goals.
Obviamente, si pensamos al trabajo defensivo, Kylian es lo último que tenemos que pensar, porque en mi opinión Kylian está jugando muy bien, y esto ha sido muy peligroso.
Look at this clip. It's another tactical tweak Ancelotti has been able to pull off, where he's gotten the best out of Mbappe. Notice what he says at the beginning. When he thinks of the team defensively, Mbappe is the last player he thinks of. This was at the start of the season. The numbers right now tell a different story. In terms of most pressures applied by Real players in La Liga this season, Mbappe comes in 6th. But if I narrow this category down to just the attackers, the front line that is, only Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo Goes have pressed more than Mbappe this season. So why is this important then?
But Rodrigo was balancing the team off the ball. Now he's not playing.
There's an idea here. You see, like Thierry Henry is doing in this clip, Rodrigo Goes gets praised a lot, not necessarily because of his tactical ability. Not that he lacks it, but it's sometimes majorly because of what he offers the Real Madrid team by pressing, chasing loose balls, winning back possession high up the pitch, and, like the stats show above, applying pressure. That clip of Henry praising Rodrigo, it was from this season. For context, Rodrigo's pressing numbers stand at 266 this season. Kylian Mbappe has 216. So, what does all of this mean then? It's a clear indicator that Mbappe has since realised that he needs to do more than just get on the end of chances for his team. You can see by the numbers there, just 10 off Rodrigo at the time of recording this, who gets praised the most as the Real Madrid attacker that presses high up. So now we know Ancelotti has Mbappe playing with more freedom, and he's built a system that allows him to be more effective by helping the team press. What's the other thing then?
Beh, yo diría más el mejor delantero centro del mundo, porque se dudaba si podía jugar delantero centro, si era mejor meterlo.
That's the one thing Ancelotti has been very good at all through his coaching career.
You know, some teams are a bit more structured in terms of the passing styles and the patterns of play, and it's really interesting to watch, and it's definitely difficult to play against. But I think one of our kind of biggest strengths is that we're so kind of off the cuff, if that makes sense. And you know, as a man as well, he just fills you with calmness and confidence before the game there.
Like Jude Bellingham says here, it's about the way he fills players with confidence. You can see him talking about Mbappe, hyping him up. Despite all those misses and early questions, he always stuck by the fact that in his mind, Mbappe is the best striker in the world playing for his team. To be fair to Mbappe, his dropping off wasn't entirely that bad. The thing is, he was scoring goals, albeit most of them from the penalty spot or tap-ins. The performances just weren't adding up, but now it's a completely different story. Mbappe right now is a man on a mission. La Liga, the Copa del Rey, the Champions League, Supercopa de España, the UEFA Super Cup, and the Intercontinental Cup. He's the only Real Madrid player to score in all competitions for Los Blancos this season, with 27 goals and 4 assists in 38 games this season. 31 goal contributions. For a guy who people thought was having a drop-off month before the end of the year, he's been popping up with some very decent numbers. The adaptation period we expected to happen finally has. You see the way he links up with the rest of the team? They understand his runs now. The likes of Jude Bellingham and Luka Modric, they know he'll attack the space. And what Carlo Ancelotti has done now is tweak the system to have these creative players around him. He's almost bound to score goals. And that's what we're seeing now. He's certainly turned his season around. And if he continues in this form, he could very well be the man to take Real Madrid to future success this season, with more big moments to come. What do you guys think about Mbappe though? Has he been all that? What has Ancelotti done to improve his game? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, and I'll see ya in the next one.